Get in, nerds. We're playing Victoria 3. We've got a little separatist situation brewing here. Something's going on with the Marina Kingdom. The United States is attempting to conquer them. Well, that's a shame. I really wanted that territory. But it is what it is. One can't have everything. Let me make sure I'm colonizing all the territory I want to be colonizing. Yes, I am. There's some nice, awkward, jagged borders with Great Britain in Africa here. So it looks like no one is standing with the Flemish here, so I think we'll be fine. Up in arms. Barracks in Champagne have been reporting a large amount of mysterious losses of firearms as of late. The army wastes enough ammunition to outfit a regiment on the range every day. What is 100 rounds compared to that monstrous expenditure? What is 1,000? The difference is, on the range, we can be sure it's not flying towards us. The armed forces have their own needs. Barracks gets disappearing armaments for 2 years, minus 30% barracks building throughput. Coup's progress will advance by 10%. Or this is clearly evidence of some sort of plot. Armed forces get accused of corruption, minus 2 interest group approval. The armed forces are fine. I'm going to do the second one. I don't want to get progress here. I'm actually going to mobilize I'm actually going to pull up some of our small armies here so that I don't wind up in a situation where my fronts are goofed up. You've seen me do this before. 2 arms. The Devil's Paintbrush. General Lawrence Gaidiot's use of dedicated machine gun teams in the French Empire versus Flemish Uprising War has yielded advantageous results on the field of battle, leaving full platoons of enemies dead before they've even reached our lines. If anyone told me that it would be possible to make a gun that would pull a cartridge belt into position, pull a loaded cartridge out of it, move it in front of the barrel, thrust it into the barrel, close the breech in a proper manner, cock the hammer, pull the trigger, fire off the cartridge, extract the empty shell, and throw it out of the mechanism, feed a new cartridge into position, and do all these things in the 10th of a second, I would not have believed it, but now I have seen it with my own eyes. Our foes fall like grass before the scythe, 10% defense. Or Laurence Gaidiot's defense of this tool is unparalleled. He's a positivist. Interesting. He seems good. Where's this better? I think I'll give him Stalwart Defender forever. As you can see, we're pressing forward on all fronts. And there's National Supremacy. Perfect. So, now we have options. If we drop government wages, that will give them -2. If we do something else they don't like, we can potentially get them angry enough that we can push Henri Bonaparte off the throne and move to his son Ferdinand Phillipe. He's a traditionalist commander, a hedonist, and a political operator. On the other hand, Henri Bonaparte is very... His rule has been good for France. So, what are the effects of this coup right now? So, because if we push him out, then we can move the Republican Union out of the government completely. And perhaps form a government of just the Industrialists and, say, the Union of Rights. That would be useful, I think. Can we sway you? No, we can't. That interaction is no longer available. Dang, he's giving us tax waste. Experienced diplomat. Arrogant. Oh, man, and this one's a legitimacy penalty, too. Gosh. So. Okay, Dreaming of the Future. You've been on long enough. If I go to total separation, they would approve of that. This would give us a reduction in authority. If I go to autocracy, this would make them too angry. They would prefer to have no home affairs. They would also prefer to have guaranteed liberties to National Guard. If I go to censorship, that might be enough. But will I take the plunge? This is a big risk. But I think we're going to take a shot at it. So, first we'll get started with this. Now the Intelligentsia are angry. Okay, so... Can't... Let's wait for the week to change over. Yep, revolutionary movement. Okay. Very good. You abdicate. Kablam! Outraged by political events disfavoring the Intelligentsia in the French Empire, Emperor Henri has decided to abdicate the throne to his heir, Prince Ferdinand Phillipe Bonaparte. They say the emperor's gone mad, tried to marry his horse or some such. What drivel are you reading in the Globe? These are loftier matters, obviously to do with the Intelligentsia situation. It's nothing so complicated. Everyone hates the emperor, so he's got to go. Simple democracy. Host a private, elite coronation. 10% of aristocrats, pops, in the French Empire become more loyalist. Hold a grand public coronation. 1% of pops in the French Empire become loyalist. I'm going to do this one. No one should be shocked about that. So, this changes up our situation. Petite bourgeoisie are out. Oh, interesting. Yes. Then we can go ahead and cancel this, because I don't actually want it. Intelligentsia abandoned the government. We knew that was going to happen. The Intelligentsia have departed the government entirely. The institution of the presidential republic is likely to be executed on the field of battle rather than in the halls of government. We see, therefore, that war is not merely a political act, but also a political instrument, a continuation of political commerce, a carrying out of the same by other means. All beyond this which is strictly peculiar to war relates merely to the peculiar nature of the means which it uses. The rats scatter once the light is shown on them. This gives us a big authority penalty, but it makes a bunch of people happy. Or let George Clemenceau in defeat or not forever be known as a turncoat. Okay, so I can't... So both of these give me 5% of Pop's radical. Oh, that's not great. Big penalty to authority and increased state penalties from turmoil. It makes the armed forces, Catholic Church, trade unions, and petite bourgeoisie more approval. I'm going to reduce George Clemenceau's popularity, because that's the only decision we're making here. So from here... Well, this really messes up my plans, because my whole idea was to pull the industrialists in, but I can't change the law while they're salty about it. Hold on. Let's drop taxes. This gives us the capacity to change up the government, and if I can swing this a little bit, if I can just satiate them enough to get them to stop being revolutionary, we can all be okay. Let's flip over to guaranteed liberties. That should... Okay, perfect. So that has dropped this. This should disappear, and that has disappeared. Beautiful. It's a time of political instability. Alright, so we can grab the Industrialists and the Intelligentsia together, or we can grab the Industrialists and Armed Forces together. I am inclined to do this. So if we do this, okay, let's get going here. On the other hand, I would like to have the petite bourgeoisie and the intelligentsia in the government if I can have them. The intelligentsia's baseline is only at -8 right now. So let's go ahead and do this. A lot of abilities changes here, friends, but I think we'll be good to go. I don't necessarily want to do guaranteed liberties, so this is... We're kind of going back to our 1.0 world and having a little bit of fake reform here. Let's go back up to middling tax levels. It'll put us at 42, which is not great, but not impossible. Now there's a political movement to preserve National Guard. That should slow this down, which is just fine for me because, again, this is not a real genuine attempt to reform the law. Just me doing my thing here. So, how can we increase... Thought I heard an event. How can we increase the power of the armed forces and the industrialists before things pop off? Let's put... You're a vanguardist, which isn't great, but it will serve. South Germany HQ, we can put someone who's not necessarily important in here. How about you? North Africa HQ, oh, here's a petite bourgeois general. Let's grab you. I don't make the petite bourgeois stronger. So my plan here is to wait while this goes up and then bail off of this this movement here. This wasn't because of a movement. Ooh, whoa, discard in Guyana. This wasn't because of a movement, so I won't get radicalism for bailing on this later. But for the moment, we're just trying to keep the intelligentsia happy. They're getting plus 20 approval due to this. The armed forces are getting very angry. And this is going very slowly on account of the government is not as legitimate as it could be. The movement to preserve the National Guard is pretty low in radicalism overall, though, so I'm not really worried about it. We have accumulated quite a few radicals in the course of this whole endeavor here, but that hasn't necessarily been a problem. We're still short, or I shouldn't say still, we're once again short of bureaucratic capacity. So let's go ahead and throw down some government admin. Is there anywhere where I'm short on government admin? Quite a few places, it turns out. Now, we should need a little bit each in all these areas, 2 in Alsace-Lorraine. And then we're going to need... Well, let's do that. Lorraine, Alsace-Lorraine, North Rhine, and Wallonia, those will each get 2 levels of admin. Lorraine, Alsace-Lorraine, Wallonia, North Rhine. And then... what else? We need 2 in Aquitaine, 2 in Provence, 2 in Poitou-Saintonge, and 4 in Burgundy. Aquitaine, Provence, Poitou-Saintonge, and then Burgundy. Put 3 in Provence. Alright, that should be enough for now. And that'll also provide us with the extra bureaucracy that we need in order for this whole situation to not pop off. I think one of the Intelligentsia's opinion debuffs degraded. Someone was exiled from the British Raj. There's political agitation. That's fun. Alright. Votes for women. Women in the French Empire have begun organizing to campaign for their right to vote in general elections. Julia Romanilha of the Petite Bourgeoisie has emerged as a leading figure of this movement. If a democracy is to live up to its own ideals, it cannot simply be an emulation of ancient republics. It must be an ongoing project, always asking the question, who is not heard? Whose wisdom is discarded? The French Empire has already recognized women as capable of ruling themselves. Why should we not aid in ruling the nation? A worthy cause. She gets suffragist trailblazer. George Clemenceau becomes a feminist. Or, sounds like opposition talk. She still becomes a suffragist trailblazer, but it gives her a smaller bonus, and George Clemenceau does not become a feminist. I'm going to go with the worthy cause. This is actually really good for us. I'm going to scrap guaranteed liberties. And we're going to give women the vote. The only people who would be upset about this are the Catholic Church and the landowners. This will make all of our people happy. So let's do it. This makes all of our government pleased. The Industrialists are doing fine. Yeah, alright. I swung it. I made it happen. King in the castle. King in the castle. Very nice. Alright, so an Act Women's Suffrage political movement showed up, and we're immediately doing it. So that's going to carry the day. Should be able to bring the Flemish back into the fold in just a few more weeks, which will also be a real load off my mind. Our situation where we're short on bureaucracy is over, but we'll be restoring our taxation capacity as well. So that's good. We have the authority to bolster the petite bourgeoisie. So let's go ahead and do that. Things are going to get really interesting in the next election, that's for sure. We'll see how things end up breaking down. Having a Republican in control of the Industrialists is a very interesting animal for sure. And time for peace. Alright, now we're going to incorporate Flanders. Wow, 1.3k bureaucracy. That's so much. But while we do have devastation, the population is much less radical now, I think. They've still got quite a few radicals. But things are going to get better around here. Starting with the railways. Get hiring. In fact, subsidize all the things. Hold up. There's like a state actions. Reset production methods. Okay. I think that should work. Any areas in Europe we can incorporate? No. How are we doing with infrastructure here? We still need a bunch. I don't know how this keeps happening. Is there a shortage in transport? Britain claims Gambia. Well, that's an interesting animal. Go ahead and build 5 levels. We'll just build a nice even 10. So we've got huge piles of, okay, Great Britain, dial it back. We've got huge levels of unemployment here, because none of these businesses are able to be profitable while there's no access to the market. Or insufficient access to the market anyway. Do I have any decrees still running? Yes. We can go ahead and reduce these down. Great Britain, are you okay? Ah. Mandé uprising. Well, I'm actually inclined to side with the Mandé. Because that will remove this front. Alright. We have a new suite of parties. We have French Action. And we have the Republican Party, held by the Intelligentsia. So, if we form a government of the Industrialists and the Armed Forces, we can't do this. Why? Because the trade unions wants into the Republican Union. How can you possibly... What is happening? Oh, Christ. Oh, this is so bad. How can you do this to me, game? How can you make me accept both the trade unions and the industrialists? This is bananas. I can't. Oh, boy. But I got it all set. These two interest groups are not supposed to be in the same party. Oh, no, it's the Republican Union. As long as these guys are out. No, it's the Republican Party. Oh boy, friends, I tell you, I thought I'd gotten this properly finagled. These two groups are not supposed to be in a government together. They are not supposed to want to be in a government together. They are not supposed to tolerate being in a party together. Oh boy. All right, well we're gonna finish out this women's suffrage thing, and then see if we can get this done before the election. And then I'll figure out what's going on. I'm going to start suppressing the trade unions and see if I can get them weak enough that they become irrelevant before this all goes wild. And then I can have the Republican Union in the government by themselves with just French action where they're supposed to be. Oh my goodness, Austria is getting crushed by Russia in this war. Declaration of the Rights of Women. Georges Clemenceau has written a work arguing for the political and civic rights of women, presenting a vision for equality between the sexes in the political sphere. Women wake up. Tosin? I think it's got to be Tosin. Of reason is being heard throughout the whole universe. Discover your rights. The powerful empire of nature is no longer surrounded by prejudice, fanaticism, superstition, and lies. The flames of truth have dispersed all the clouds of folly and usurpation. This tract should be widely disseminated. That makes him more popular, or other political leaders should study this. Chance of getting some feminists. I'm going to go with this second one, because hopefully that'll get some extra feminists in around the place and maybe ungoof some of these political interests. Okay, now form a party or something. Stop being terrible. All right, well, if the trade unions are still relevant, just moving to preserve property in women. That's bananas. If the... Oh, God, it's stalled. That's why it's not enacting. All right, well, we'll deal with that after the election. Not going to worry about Senegal right now. I'm still infamous. That's going down really slowly. Do we still have the natural borders of France debuffed to degradation of our infamy? I don't think we do. Huh. That's some more places that have unrealized taxes. Surprising. They are going down. Urgh. Aggressive campaigning. Giulia Romanilha, following an address where she condemned the Union of Rights, has been mobilizing dedicated partisans to oppose it in the election. An unprincipled morass, best served not in Parliament but in prison, devoid of positive achievement, a collective self-parody, an embarrassment to the French nation. Down with the Union of Rights. There's certainly a better alternative. Extra momentum for French action, reduced momentum for Union of Rights, or a pack of miscreants, and indeed, that completely wrecks the momentum of the Union of Rights. Union of Rights are doing pretty well. Let's throw some momentum in the way of French action and see if that can't solve this problem. I realize I'm leaning quite heavily on the on these far right authoritarians, but we'll see. We'll see how things go. We'll see how things go in the next election. I'm really hoping I can finagle something here. I'm bolstering French action, and maybe, just maybe, I can pop the Union of Rights in with them, or maybe the Party of Order even, and secure myself some kind of functioning government once this election pops off. Unfortunately, the Republican Party has quite a bit of momentum right now, and I really don't want that, because those guys seem like they're jerks. If I could go to... Well, we'll see. We'll see. I'm not going to go all buck wild with this stuff right now immediately. Alright, we're just about finishing with these... this infrastructure here in Flanders. This is available now, so... Alright, employment has gone back to normal. Very good. Alright, so these businesses are now functioning. Wonderful. Well, we got that whole situation sorted with the unemployment in Flanders, so that's a good sign. So, what else do I have to do? I do have to build up some additional governing capacity in these areas here. They're also short on infrastructure, though. Which means we need to build some railways. And Tunisia's a little short on infrastructure, too, so we'll do the same there. Any more election events? No? Okay. Colonization continues at pace. Can we reach Grazie? It's gonna be tight. I think Great Britain finally discovered malaria prevention, so they're neck and neck with us now. Austria signed a peace with Bavaria. Ah, Bavaria kept its independence. Wonderful. Good for you, Bavaria. Alright, 10 days. Let's see how this election shapes up. It's interesting. This seems key to the American election season. Because I know that not every country does it that way. Alright. How are we going to go here? Well, that's a shame. We're doing it this way. Okay, I honestly and truly cannot get the trade unions and the Republican Party anywhere. Well, hold on. Stop suppressing them for now. Hit the reform government button again. If we do just this, the Republican Union, it's pointless. They can't, yeah, no. Their interests are too far apart for anything to ever work with these two. So I'm left with the armed forces and the petite bourgeoisie, or the rural folk and the intelligentsia. So I think we're going to be here. I think this is where we're going to live for the moment. And Ferdinand Phillipe Bonaparte, you will just need to tolerate the industrialists not being around for now. So who do we... I think we continue suppressing the trade unions. And I think we don't bolster the petite bourgeoisie. We suppress the Intelligentsia. And we'll see how that goes. Hold up. What happened? You all just... Okay, so now you're powerful. You're not powerful anymore. But French action is a lot stronger. That's really interesting. Whew. Well, I'd be lying if I said I understood it, but it does appear to be going where we want it. Laws progress to drafting. We knew it was gonna... That's not shocking to anyone. At least we're making good use of our newfound authority. Still infamous, trying to get this reduced so that we can live in peace, by which I mean we can conquer the territories we want to conquer. I think I'm going to switch over to the steam-powered thresher machines for all the rest of my farms. Yeah, it's made them a little bit more profitable. And more importantly, hasn't completely wrecked the rest of my market, which is the thing that's important about this. And I think for most of our industries, we're going to try going a water tube boiler. Okay, so that's made them more productive. They can't take it, though. Furniture industries? No. Not useful for them. There's central planning. This gives us slightly better taxation capacity. That's good. For urban centers, we can go to electric streetlights. This is going to, however, require an effective power plant construction project. So we're going to need to figure out where to build these power plants. Unfortunately, we are, once again, needing a railway. Needing a rework of our railway system. It's going to slow the game down here. French Low Countries are a good place. They've got a ton of infrastructure right now. On the other hand, Normandy has a lot of unemployment. Ménanjou also has a lot of unemployment. Interesting. Okay, Normandy, Ménanjou, French Low Countries. That's where we're going to build our power plants. 10 here, 10 here, 10 here. And what that's going to do is that's going to allow us to shift our urban centers over to electric lighting, and that's going to save us a ton of coal, which is something we're going to need for the long term. How long have we been going? Oh, this episode's been going on a while. Alright, well, we've been doing a lot of finagling with our overall political situation, but I'm hoping we're going to be able to move to a more stable state as we get going. We've got a new emperor, Ferdinand Phillipe Bonaparte. He aligns with the Industrialists, which will allow us to form a fairly solid reactionary bloc eventually, once this situation gets put to bed. I might end up flipping over internal security, we'll see. But for now, I've had fun. I hope you all have had fun, and I'll see you all on the other side.